His load's done.
What's up, dog? She's sniffing it. Smell the vegetables? Well, let's go look at them. Do, do, do. Do, do. Alright, so zucchinis. I picked 5. 2 large ones. With these ones, I just gave them a twist and they pop right off. Alright. Just so you know, I make up my own sound effects. I do not use the soundboard like the fancy DJs. You see this one got damaged from the twist. So I might eat that tomorrow or tonight. 'Cause these got damaged as well. I also harvested a bunch of cucumbers. While I was doing that, my neighbor came over, complimented me on the garden, commented on the trumpet vines and how much of a nuisance they are. Funny thing about them being invasive, she said the one she has on her property actually came from my property. Previous owners had it growing, and they cut it down, but it invaded on her yard. It really wants to grow. So here's the garden today. Now if you look at these tomato plants, these things are heavy, and these little rods are not cutting it anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some PVC, and I've got 8 of these, so I'm gonna need 4 pieces of PVC. I'll have $10 into it. I'll cut them in half. They'll be 5 foot long. I'm gonna shove these little poles into the ground. I'm gonna mount the PVC, slide it right over top of those poles, and then bind the tomato plant to it, and that'll give me 5 feet tall. So it'll be, well, they'll be a little taller than what I could. So the Brussels sprouts are going well. Nothing has formed to the point that I need to cut these leaves off yet. Hopefully in another week I'll see that. Now if you look over there, you see those peppers? Got more peppers growing. Not sure how long to let those go, but they may end up being small peppers. Got another one of those funny pepper plants that are weed. Alright, Watts OG. Nice and stinky, nice and pretty. They're about crotch level, so they're about 3 foot tall from the ground. Maybe a little taller. And there's Dandy Andy. The potato plants are starting to get yellow around the low ends. I think it's getting close to harvest, so maybe in another week or so. Cucumbers, I just did a harvest on those. That's a lot of work now. These things are so intense. Let's walk over there. You can see the strings have kept the potatoes back. I might try something like that next year. Form like a grid, maybe. Look how intensely tight that is. I got one little tiny stepping spot in there. It is high intensity. I'm thinking the garlic is getting close. I don't know. I don't know much about it. Let's look down here at the ground. No indicator for me there. It wants to fall over though. I've got some browning going on, so it could just be the harsh temperature, but it could also be about ready. I don't know. Could check. I'm not gonna mess with it yet. Trumpet vines. Look at the head of cabbage. I'll step in here and I'll show you. It's starting to get firm. Okay, all these leaves are forming up into a head. I don't think I'm going to bind these. Now those will probably be rabbit food, because they're too small. They're two plants together. I got a beet in here. And earlier I looked and see, got a little thing growing here. That might be the beet. Hard to say what kind of shape it is. Maybe like a beet. Just want to take a look under here. Now, I don't know if we can get a glimpse of it from under here, but there was a albino zucchini, like a giant one, up under here. It's on the other side, but yeah, there's a really pale color zucchini. I don't know if it's supposed to be that color or what, but really weird. See there, kind of see it there, pale, and it's big. I'm thinking I might be picking it before long. It just might be a real big one. You see the tomatoes, they're going, they're hardcore, man. They're heavy on those rods. Yeah, just like a, never mind. I won't tell that dirty joke. So you got some shriveling going there. These tomatoes are big, but they're not turning color. So I don't really want to keep picking them when they're green. I had 25% of them turn like pale color on half of them. They just didn't look like they were developing. So they weren't ripening well. I've got some that are turning yellowish now over on the table, so that helps. So let's talk a second. My last video I mentioned about the power going out, and you know, everybody's gonna have a different thing, different situation, and if something like that were to happen, hard to say where you be. You could be at the local grocery, you could be at work an hour away, you could be at home in the middle of the night and have no idea till you wake up in the morning. But my advice is, if you know the grid's down, okay, in any power outage, you're good to start filling up containers with water immediately. Your water tower will have pressure for you to gain water. So depending on how much of a prepper you are, you might even fill up your bathtub and your sink, pots and pans. I mean, it's water. I've said before, one thing I do is when I empty a milk jug, I wash it out and fill it with water stored in my basement. Power goes out, I'm not worrying about water too much. I'll probably be the guy that goes and shuts the main off just to keep any issues coming in from the water. You know, our world's always hung by a thread, and us in America, we take so much for granted, and we shouldn't never take anything for granted. You know, I mean, we're threatened with civil unrest right now, and we have issues going on around the world. Everything from the current pandemic, regardless of what you think about it, it affects our lives, and the rest of the world does too. I mean, when you look at China losing all the swine they've lost, that's a major part of their food, and they're going to be buying food. And the more food they buy, the less food other people have. And with the issues going on with weather and locusts, I mean, anybody that follows it, there's a huge list. I mean, 2020 is beyond any movie that I've seen, and we're barely halfway through. So, I mean, hope you guys are using your time wisely. You know, buy some beans. make some plans for those things that you don't even think are likely to happen. Make a plan so that if the unthinkable happens, you don't have to panic. You don't want to be panicking. You want to know that you know what you're going to do. You know, I've got a plan, and I've been working on a group, and some take it seriously and some not nearly as serious as I think they should. But nonetheless, I'm making plans for all of us, and I recommend everybody have a group. Think worst case scenario. I mean, if you're prepared for the worst case scenario, anything less than that, you should have the utmost confidence that you will get through it. I mean, I tell you, I don't know what to expect at this point. But I got this feeling that we ain't seen nothing yet. And I hope I'm wrong about my suspicions. And we should all hope I'm wrong. But I've been able to call some stuff. I mean, anybody that follows what's going on and thinks about how people are can probably start predicting some things. But yeah, one more little piece of advice on making your plans. You need to be drawing those lines on what you will deal with and how you will deal with it, and what are your triggers. I mean, a power outage is one thing. Tree comes down and can take out the power to your house. That's why you don't panic. Those things can be fixed. You know, I guess I don't know what my point is on that, but you draw your lines, you figure out what your triggers are, the things that set it in. I mean, if you're driving down the road and an EMP happens, your car is fried. And if you got electronic steering, electronic brakes, and you're on the freeway at 70 miles an hour with hundreds of other cars nearby, how do you expect that to go? You know, if you're at work and the power goes out, and you look at your phone and the phone don't work, that's a pretty good indicator something big has just happened. I'm just saying. That's drawing your lines, finding your triggers, having a plan. If you don't know what to plan or what to do, ask somebody. A lot of people out there, like me, a lot more than anybody realizes, make use of us. Ask us what we would do when it comes to the things that make you afraid. And maybe we'll give you some insight. Maybe not. It's worth a try. Most importantly, I hope you guys are drawing your father into your life and looking to be the best you can be, which is what he wants you to be. That's the one thing we need. It's the one thing we need more than anything right now, is the discernment that our Father has. I hope he blesses you as he's blessed me.